How do you know that your doctor has committed malpractice or your doctor was negligent, and based on the doctor's negligence, this is what has caused your injury or your damages or your harm? Want to know what I'm getting at here? Stay with me as I share with you this very important information. Hello, I'm Marcus Boston, and I'm a childbirth injury and medical malpractice attorney practicing law here in the state of Maryland, and I would like to quickly talk with you today about that question. How do you prove medical malpractice in the state of Maryland? Well, before I answer that question, I want to make sure that you understand when we are talking about a medical malpractice case, and this could be it a surgery issue, wrongful death issue, or a birth-related issue, a birth-related injury. Before I answer that question on how you prove this, you have to understand that just because you have a bad result, that does not necessarily mean that medical malpractice occurred. I'm going to say that again because that's really important, and sometimes people don't understand that. Just because you have a bad result, that does not mean that medical malpractice occurred. To be successful in these cases, which are essentially negligence cases, and to prove negligence, there's 4 basic elements: duty, breach of duty, causation, and that 4th element is damages. You have to prove all of these elements to be successful in a negligence case in Maryland. In addition, when we are talking about medical malpractice cases, there are also other things that you have to be able to show. Namely, that your treating doctor fell below the standard of care owed to you, and by falling below that standard of care, this is what caused the injury or the damages or the harm to either you or your baby when we're talking about a birth trauma case. And to be able to prove these elements, to be able to prove this, we use your medical records. We use the records and the facts surrounding the case to get an idea as to whether medical malpractice occurred. Now, remember, I said that standard of care. I said that you have to show that your treating doctor fell below the standard of care owed to you, and by falling below that standard of care, this is what caused the damages or the harm to you. And how I want you to think about the standard of care is, what would a reasonable and prudent doctor do in the same set of circumstances as your doctor? That's what I'm talking about when we are dealing with standard of care. And like I said earlier, to prove this or to do this, we use these medical experts who will look at the records and they will look at everything and they will come to a conclusion. So when you take all of this and when you add all of this up, or you take all of it together, I'm hoping that you can see that in some cases, a doctor can do everything right, can do everything correct, stay within the standard of care, and an injury can still occur. So that's why I said at the beginning of this video, it's not enough just to say, well, Mr. Boston, I have a bad result. And because I have a bad result, I'm ready to sue my doctor, and that means that my doctor must have did something wrong with me or my baby. No, it does not work like that. We have to follow the law. We have to follow these elements: negligence, duty, breach, causation, and damages, standard of care. Whether that standard of care, a deviation from that standard of care, is what caused the injury or the harm done to you. Now, before I finish this video, I want to also talk about something else which is really important, because we will get this question during a phone call, and that is, well, Mr. Boston, I have this bad result. Can you tell me right now on the phone whether I have a medical malpractice case? Can you tell me right now if my doctor did something wrong to me and whether or not I can move forward with a medical malpractice case? I'm hoping now that after listening to this video and understanding the process and understanding the elements that have to be met, that a thorough investigation has to take place. And because of this thorough investigation that needs to take place before being able to reach a conclusion, I'm hoping you can see that when you call me on the phone and you want an answer immediately, why, more than likely, I'm not going to be able to tell you immediately on the phone without looking at the medical records, without talking to other medical experts, whether you have a medical malpractice case. So I just wanted to make sure that I clear that up with you too, because if you're watching this video more than likely you are trying to get insight into this process. You're trying to understand, how do we prove these cases, or how do you prove these cases in the state of Maryland? So I'm giving you insight into this process, not only for just a medical malpractice case, but also if you have an issue with a birth trauma issue. Maybe your baby was born and there's been some issues with your child, maybe not meeting certain neonatal milestones, or maybe your baby has other things going on and now you have questions about this process. If you have all of this going on and you would like to speak with me further, this is what I invite you to do. And remember, taking this next action, it costs you absolutely nothing. And what is that action? To pick up the phone and give me a call. I could be reached at 301-850-4832, or if you prefer, you can also reach me toll free if it's a birth-related issue at 1-833-4BABY-HELP. You can also reach me by email at medicalinjury@bostonlawllc.com. I answer birth trauma and medical malpractice questions just like yours all the time. I talk to families about these issues all the time, and I'll be happy to take some time and listen to your story. All right, that's going to be it for today's quick educational video. Again, I'm Marcus Boston, and I'm one of the childbirth injury and medical malpractice attorneys practicing law here at Boston Law Group, LLC, and we will see you next time. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day.